Some things that people don't really realize or know about me is like I quit singing for over 2 years. And it had a lot to do with my own internal defeat. I allowed myself to feel defeated.
Ladies and gentlemen, please be seated. The show is about to begin.
Hi you guys, my name is Nicole Maria and welcome to my channel. This is a channel where I'm going to get real with you about the ins and outs of the music world and my experience and how I've coped and dealt with it and grown past and through my experiences, and how I have used certain tools in my life, such as prioritizing my health and also becoming a nutritional therapy practitioner and voice teacher and all that stuff, and how it has helped me grow as a human and has also helped me thrive as a singer and a performer. So if you're ready to embark on this journey with me, let's go. All right, so like I said, my name is Nicole Maria and I am a classically trained singer. While I had gone through my undergraduate degree and then my master's degree in music, something changed within me. And no, not the Idina Menzel, something has changed within me, no. But rather, something internally started to shut down. And I didn't realize this was happening until I had already graduated and was so burnt out that I had to stop and just quit altogether. Little girl, I love singing, I love performing. That was the only thing that I ever wanted to do in my entire life. People would ask me like, well, what are you gonna do when you're an adult or you're a grown-up? And I'm like, I'm gonna sing, duh. I'm gonna perform, I'm gonna be on stage, I'm gonna be on Broadway in New York, doing that whole thing. And then I went to school for music. And I didn't go to school for musical theater. I had studied that growing up, but then my voice teacher during my middle and high school years, when it was time for college, she said, well, what you gonna do? And I said, well, I'm not really a dancer. I could fake it, but they'd catch me real fast, right? So instead, I went to school for opera. And that was the best, the worst, and the most challenging thing I've ever had to do. Let's start with why it was the most challenging. One, it was a completely different technique. And this is, I think, where it all started in my head as to why I started to feel this slow build of defeat throughout my time in school. But there was this, my teacher in my undergrad, great woman. I understand now why she would say this, but I was not allowed to touch musical theater anymore. And my little girl heart was broken, which so sucked because I loved to sing musical theater songs. I loved to belt, I loved that technique, and classical was completely different. And by still wanting to sing musical theater, it would then hinder my classical technique. So I was not allowed to touch it. And that was a really hard thing, especially as an 18, 19-year-old who that's all she knew what to do. And opera was a whole new world for her, where she didn't really have a passion for it or love for it. She just thought, well, if I can sing opera, I can sing anything, right? So I struggled internally, and my ego, we all have an ego, right? And I knew I was good. I was like, oh, I'm good. I get roles, I do all this stuff, but I started to feel less than as I started to grow in my years as an opera singer. And I was good, but I wasn't as good as some other people, because that's what a lot of them may have done before anything else, right? A lot of them love that first and foremost rather than making it their secondary choice. So throughout the years, I made some friendships, and some I still have to this day, whereas others are not really that authentic, which is normal. And it was constant criticism. So there are two types of people that can handle that. One who are like, I don't give a shit, I don't care about criticism, it doesn't affect me because I know my path and where I'm on. And there's the other person who is a little insecure, and just a little bit of itty bitty criticisms that come their way destroy them, even if they're constructive. I remember in studio singing in front of people, I would cry sometimes by the criticisms, or by like my teacher criticizing me in front of my peers. And it's all part of the normal world, like that's normal. But you know, at that time I wasn't prepared and ready for that. Okay, I did the thing, I did my undergrad, and then I went to grad school. And already headed into grad school, I was not ready for it. I did not want to be a part of it. I did not want to be there. I did not like where I was. I felt like there was big political thing going on. I went to a really great school, don't get me wrong, but it's everything's politics. And again, I wasn't strong or fortified yet. I was feeling less than. Even in my own studio, I felt like I couldn't trust my peers or even my teacher. Don't get me wrong, I loved my teacher. She was great, but there were times where I felt like I couldn't trust her. And that was hard for me. And so I pushed through, I did the thing, I did improve, don't get me wrong, but I was unhappy for 2 years. And then I graduated. And I graduated in, guess what? 2020, the year of COVID. When that happened, I looked at my then boyfriend, now husband, and I said, hey, I'm done singing. And he was like, what? Are you sure? I was like, yeah, I need a break. I don't know how long, but I need a break. And so then all of these things started happening where I was trying to find myself. So my husband and I became nutritional therapy practitioners. I had always been interested in learning about health and nutrition for people, and I started working with people, but that didn't fulfill me. Even though I was helping people, it didn't fulfill me. So then at some point too, my husband and I, we became martial artists. I actually started teaching martial arts, and I thought this would help me, this would heal me. You know, I didn't know at the time, but I was really depressed. And like I said, I'd quit music, and I was like, I need a break. I need to do my own thing. But I still had those voices, right? Nicole, you should be doing this. Nicole, you should be doing that. And whose voice is that? My mother's. Love my mom, biggest support in the whole wide world. But sometimes having this fear of disappointing your mom, your dad, your brother, your sister, your friends, that lingers. And those are the voices that we hear versus our own. And I was hearing everybody else's voices for over 2 years rather than my own. So I was just utterly miserable. I had to kind of have like a come to Jesus moment. And I looked at my husband and I was like, hey, I'm gonna take a trip. I'm gonna go down to Florida. We were living in South Carolina at the time. I'm gonna go to the beach, and I'm gonna go reconnect with myself and with God. And he was like, whatever you gotta do. And so I went to Florida, and the minute I got there, I went to the beach, which I find so healing. It was an experience. You know, not a lot of people know I did that. The family doesn't know, only a few people, because it looked a little weird. And it was by myself. It was my first time doing something like that by myself. And it was really uncomfortable. And of course, like, you get weirdos, but you just bypass that. And I felt like God was telling me to go back into music. And so I heard it. You know, it took me 3 days to finally say, okay, fine. But again, it took me some time to build that momentum back up. And it wasn't until this last August where I said, you know what? I want to start teaching. I want to see if that's going to help. Because to be honest, I never wanted to teach. All I wanted to do was be on stage, and all I wanted to do was perform. But I fell in love with teaching. And it makes sense. How else can you improve? How else can you get better? You can improve and you can get better by helping others. And I have become a better person because of that, a better singer, a better performer, a better friend, and a better colleague. And to be honest, why did I want to perform mainly? Guess what? Ego. The ego comes back in because me. Everybody knows about me, right? I want to be famous because I want people to see that I've made it. Well, who gives a beep, right? Who cares? What are the real reasons, right? Are you wanting to perform to make yourself look good or to fulfill others? Because at the end of the day, isn't it about giving back to others, giving the gift that God gave you to others? God gave us these gifts for a reason, and we have to use them for a reason and not abuse them. And I think sometimes we forget the balance between them. And, I had all these voices in my head. I was scared. Even up until recently, I said, what is it going to look like if I actually become a performer? I'm married, but I also want a family. But I can't have a family and be a performer. There's no way. And people who do that, they end up getting divorced. And I was like, I don't want any part of that. But I am so blessed, like beyond belief, because I have an amazing husband and an amazing support. And he is all for it. He is not insecure. He is like, you do what you're going to do. We will be fine. We'll be great no matter what. And we are doing this life together. And we chose to do this life together knowing that there was a possibility that I would want to get out there and perform. Since then, since letting go and just realizing that it's okay to want to be a teacher and to be a performer, but the one thing that I had to change and that I had to work on was myself. And let me get into that. We feel this fear, this resistance. You know what I'm talking about. In order to grow, you must push past it. That's where the uncertainty lies, but it is also where the fulfillment comes. Because then it becomes almost like a game, a challenge. And you want to say, how much can I push myself today? How much can I do the things that scare me? Because then it helps you grow and become stronger. I allowed myself to be a victim of the music world. I allowed myself to blame the schooling, to blame others for my own feelings during that time. I am not doing that anymore. I allowed myself to run away, and I had that victim or scarcity mindset versus the abundance mindset. And there's a really great psychiatrist, Alfred Adler, and he states that how we think of ourselves and how we behave is because there's always an ulterior motive, whether it's conscious or subconscious. So like, if you blush, for example, if you find somebody attractive, he says that you're doing that to yourself. And it's a weird concept at first, but then you start to realize that it is true. The actions that we make, the thoughts that we have, the steps that we take, there's always an underlying category, like people who say, I'm just too shy to want to put myself out there. You're putting a label on you, calling yourself shy, you will then always be shy. That's just how it works. Like, why are you then too shy? What's the real reason? What's that fear holding you back from putting yourself out there? Or are you using shy as an excuse then to put yourself out there? Does that make sense? Let me know if this is making sense in the comments below, because I'd love to hear what some of y'all go through and feel. But really, what I also learned is that we're missing a community of people that want to get away from that mindset, that victim mindset and that toxic world, and they want to grow and they want to learn and become the better versions of themselves. But it's hard to find those people. So that's why I put together a community that we can do this all together. It's a completely free community, by the way, on School. It's called the Peak Performing Vocalist. So for all my singers out there who want to learn to thrive as singers, not just with technical things, but by incorporating health and putting that first and foremost, and then working on mindset, working on working out, working on just improving the body as a whole. Because trust me when I say, if you put your body under the right conditions, then you will thrive. And that is what I have been doing. That is what my clients have done, and they feel fantastic. And if you don't believe me, go check out my school group called the Peak Performing Vocalist. It's completely free. It's also in the link below. And join and be around a community that people all want to be in, a toxic-free environment, and a community where they can learn and grow together, and people who want to learn to sing a little bit better with some simple techniques that'll take them far. Like I said, it's completely free to join. I'm doing this because I need more people like me in my life, and I want to help encourage those and get them started in that. I want to help encourage those to get them into a group, get them started, and just help them to feel the best they can feel and know that they're not alone with feeling like a victim. They're not alone with feeling like the world is toxic. They're not alone with feeling like they can't do it anymore, because I have seen it time and time again with not just with myself, but other friends and family who have gone to school in that world and have stopped doing what they love because of the fear. But enough. Let's stop letting the fear get to us and allow ourselves to bolster up and just one step at a time push past our fear to become stronger, more confident, and better versions of ourselves. If you liked this video, please like and subscribe. I am trying to grow this community as big as I can, so I need people to share this video, to share it with others, and to share my free community so we can grow and all become whole together. Again, like and subscribe, and looking forward to seeing you guys next time. Let's do this.